Psychologists say that when you look at yourself in the mirror, you are seeing a version of yourself that is roughly 20% less attractive than how the rest of the world perceives you. We are often our own harshest critics. We live inside our own heads, navigating the labyrinth of our insecurities, hyper-focusing on that one blemish or the way our voice cracks when we're nervous. But there is a profound psychological phenomenon at play here, the self-perception bias. Because we have access to all our internal doubts, we assume they are visible on the surface. They aren't. In reality, your attractiveness isn't just a measurement of facial symmetry or the clothes you wear. It is an energy, a collection of subtle behavioral signals that draw people in like a magnetic tide. Today, we're going to peel back the curtain of human psychology to reveal the signs that you are significantly more captivating than your reflection suggests. By the end of this video, you'll understand why total strangers treat you the way they do, and why that awkward habit of yours might actually be your greatest charm. But first, let's look at why people might be avoiding eye contact with you, and it's not for the reason you think. 1. The averted gaze phenomenon. There is a common misconception. If people don't look at you, you must be invisible or unattractive. Psychology suggests the polar opposite. When someone finds another person exceptionally attractive, it triggers a physiological threat response in the brain's amygdala. This is known as the intimidation factor. High levels of physical or charismatic beauty can cause others to feel a sudden dip in self-esteem or a spike in social anxiety. To protect themselves from feeling lesser than, people will instinctively look away or avoid making direct eye contact to manage their own nervous system. Think of a time you were in a coffee shop and noticed someone breathtaking walk in. Did you stare directly at them for 5 minutes? Likely not. You probably looked away quickly, perhaps even acting busier than you were. If you often feel like people ignore you in public spaces, it's often because your presence is so commanding that they don't feel comfortable staring. This intimidation leads directly into our next point, because when people do finally look at you, their reaction is often involuntary. 2. The raised eyebrow reflex. While some look away, others cannot help but react. Have you ever noticed people subtly lifting their eyebrows when you first walk into a room or join a conversation? This is a micro-expression discovered by ethologist Irene Abel-Ibsfeld. It's a universal human signal of approachability and recognition. When we see something aesthetically pleasing or intriguing, our eyebrows involuntarily lift to open the eyes wider, allowing us to take in more visual information. It's an evolutionary pulse of interest that lasts less than a second. Imagine you're at a dinner party. You walk into the kitchen to grab a drink. You notice a stranger's eyebrows jump up for a fraction of a second before they smile. They aren't surprised you're there. They are surprised by the impact of your arrival. 3. You have a polarizing effect. Do you find that people either seem to love you instantly or, conversely, seem strangely cold toward you for no apparent reason? This is the Ben Franklin effect in reverse. Highly attractive individuals often face unearned hostility. This stems from projection. If someone feels insecure about their own life or appearance, seeing someone who has it all triggers a defensive mechanism. Conversely, those who are secure will gravitate toward you. If you don't leave people feeling neutral, it's because your presence is too strong to be ignored. You start a new job. Most colleagues are warm, but one person is inexplicably short with you, despite you being perfectly kind. You haven't done anything wrong. Your existence is simply challenging their internal narrative of self-worth. Speaking of how people treat you, there's a specific way people listen to you that reveals a lot about your hidden magnetism. 4. People mirror your body language. Next time you're speaking to someone, watch their hands or the way they're sitting. Are they leaning in when you lean in? Are they holding their glass the same way you are? This is called liminal mimicry or the chameleon effect. We subconsciously imitate the gestures, speech patterns, and attitudes of people we admire or find attractive. It's the brain's way of saying, I am like you, and I want you to like me. You re-explaining a complex idea at work. You notice your supervisor has tilted their head at the exact same angle as yours. They aren't just listening to your words. They are subconsciously syncing with your persona. 5. You rarely receive direct compliments. This sounds counterintuitive. If you're attractive, shouldn't you be showered with praise? Not necessarily. People often assume that beautiful people are already well aware of their status. As a result, they feel that complimenting you would be redundant or even annoying. They might think, they probably hear how great they look 10 times a day. I don't want to be the 11th. You dress up for a big event and feel like you look your best, yet no one says a word. You go home feeling discouraged. In reality, everyone in that room likely thought you looked stunning, but they assumed you were so confident you didn't need the validation. But there is one group of people who will always give you away, and it's not through words, but through their physical proximity. 6. The proximity encroachment. Humans have a personal space bubble, usually extending about 18 inches around us. When we find someone unattractive or threatening, we expand that bubble. When we find someone attractive, we subconsciously let that bubble shrink. This is proxemics. If you find that people often stand slightly closer to you than they do to others, perhaps brushing shoulders in a hallway or leaning in close during a conversation, it's a sign that your physical presence is perceived as comforting or desirable. You're standing in line at a grocery store. You notice the person behind you is standing just a bit closer than is strictly necessary. They aren't trying to be rude. Their subconscious mind is simply pulled toward your orbit. 7. Your flaws are called quirks. The final sign is perhaps the most beautiful. It's when your imperfections are treated as endearing traits rather than mistakes. This is known as the halo effect. When we perceive someone as attractive, our brains tend to view their other traits through a positive lens. If you are clumsy, it's seen as cute. If you're quiet, you're mysterious. If you're loud, you're the life of the party. Think about a time you made a mistake. Maybe you spilled a drink or tripped. Instead of judgment, the people around you laughed warmly or rushed to help with a smile. If the world seems to forgive your small errors easily, it's a strong indicator that your overall attractiveness has created a halo of grace around you. Attractiveness is a symphony of signals, most of which have nothing to do with what we see in the mirror at 7 a.m. It's in the way you hold space, the way you react to the world, and the way the world reacts to you. We often spend so much time looking for what's wrong with us that we fail to see the impact we have on others. You are a collection of stories, energies, and features that the world finds far more compelling than you give yourself credit for. I want to hear from you today. Which of these signs have you noticed in your own life? Perhaps there's a quirk of yours that people always seem to mention? Let's start a conversation in the comments below. If this video helped you see yourself in a slightly different light, consider subscribing to our journey through the human mind. Until next time, remember, you are seen, you are appreciated, and you are far more than the sum of your insecurities.